everyone, welcome to the season finale of the Best Friends Club Podcast. Woo!
Whoa! Oh my god, we finally made it.
We finally made it. It's episode 20. My name is Fizz, and I'm with my co-host.
Charlotte! Hi guys.
Hi! And so we've reached the last episode of the year, guys, and like our first season.
Our
How
first
exciting!
season. Completely unintentionally. We didn't plan for this, but it just seems very... Is the word serendipitous? I think that's... Yeah?
It is. I think so.
That it's the end of a year, the end of a series, 20 episodes. I don't know how we've done 20 episodes. That's insane to me.
It does not even feel like 20. Like 20 feels like such a big number to me, but we've somehow managed to do that. And funnily enough, this is actually so the video we're covering today, which we'll get into, is the last joint video in the Manchester flat. So we've reached the end of of Dan and Phil's Manchester era, which is just you're right. It's so serendipitous. It's so like everything just
It's
lined up
perfect.
perfectly.
It really has. Absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. But yeah, so we'll get right into it. It's actually sadly not a very dramatic video at all
I know we
because
picked like the worst video to end the series on because nothing happens. It's so boring.
and it's let's just say it. It's not the most joined content ever because Dan comes in for a segment of this 5 minute video total. Um but we count any sort of like significant amount of like this for us it counts as joint content, right? Because
Yeah, definitely.
definitely. But it does start off as just like a very typical Phil video. I have not said the name of the video yet. It's called The Best Game Ever in all caps.
Is it called the best game ever? I just called it the
It
game. My notes clearly didn't read the title.
apparently it's the best game ever, which you know
I,
what?
uh,
It's false
I'd debate that.
advertising.
That
Yeah,
is full
debate.
advertising.
It's really it's a
Coming
very
from Phil, who would
mm,
literally make a board game,
in
and
the
he's
future.
calling this the
Whoa.
best game ever.
Mm.
Questioning that one, Phil. I'm questioning it.
He is his clickbait game has always been strong, I guess. Like you would click on this.
Especially now. I mean, if we're talking Dan and Phil games now, they are the kings of
Whoa.
clickbait.
Whoa. His like tweets about the actual like video aren't even coherent anymore. I just wake up and I see it and I'm like just heavy sigh.
What is this going to be about today?
I know. Just 24 days of utter nonsense. It's just gay nonsense that we are
And you know
watching.
what, Fizz? They've
Mm,
absolutely deserved it. They deserve the nonsense. They deserve to clickbait us, and we deserve to fall for it every single time.
it's true. It's that's the thing, right? We just fall for it. Oh, this is just
And you know, jokes on us, but
yeah.
we deserve it. You know, after everything they've been through, they can clickbait us with some awful video titles.
It's true, and they can make fun of us all they want because yeah, we're in a new era. We're in the post something era, post Danville
Post
Games
some,
revival.
certainly post something.
All
But yeah, it's
right.
been great, and I hate that this gaming list has made me want to do all the gaming videos. So if anyone would like us to do every single gaming video and to make this podcast 1,000 episodes long, please let us know.
Please let us know. I think we can. I think we can cover. Are you saying all of them, like from
Ev-
2014?
Every single one.
All right. You're so ambitious. This is what. Oh my god.
We've been
Okay,
here this long. Why not? What's another 1,000 videos to watch?
that's true. If it gets you to watch the Undertale Let's Plays, because I know you haven't
I haven't.
watched.
I think I've watched two or one. I don't know how many they made, but I've definitely watched one.
Mm. I watched Undertale is one of my favorite ones. So if
Wow.
it'll get you to watch
Wow.
it, I'm
Okay.
happy to do all of the gaming channel videos actually.
I think my thing is with those longer gaming videos, is like I mean we've spoken about this before, and I think it's a lot of people's views is like you don't watch AmazingPhil games for the gaming content, and I think with those
Mm-mm.
longer let's plays, because it's such a long video, and it's such a sort of a lot of them are like story driven games. Like there's
Yeah,
just not a lot of like banter. Like some of the ones they've uploaded this month, there just hasn't been. It's just watching them play a game, which like some people do find entertaining, but like I don't really care about them watching them play a game. I want to see them interact and like be stupid, and then the game just
that's fair.
happens to be like the vehicle for them being stupid.
That's fair. Actually, I would say like a couple of them, like I think the trombone one, where you see kind of Phil also try to game, because Phil, let's be honest, Phil is not gaming. It's Dan
Phil is
games and
not a
Phil.
gamer. Phil passes
Phil,
princesses.
yeah, pretty much. So when it's both of them gaming and it's not a Dan versus Phil, it is kind of a bit like, where's the balance, you know?
Yeah,
So I get that, but I
I was
like that
gonna
they're
say as well.
aware. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say as well. Since we last recorded, they uploaded my top favorite gaming video so far, the
Which is
incoherent one.
incoherent. Oh yeah, that was really good. That was
I I have watched that I think every day since it came out. It's so good, and I cry laugh every time, even though I've seen it every day since it came out.
it's so chaotic, and for what? Like I'm haunted by the power button card. I
We all are. We were not. I was not expecting any of that.
None of it. The entire video is a mess, right? But then when he said that and then the word was revealed, I was like, how dare you? How dare you bring this to the public forum and involve us in this nonsense? Again,
I
I
don't
can't
need to.
describe.
Yeah,
Can't. I can't.
we don't need to know this information, and yet they just force it upon us.
No.
And also, as well, we've had the Pin Off React #2 video. Again, Dan and Phil, lawyer up. We are coming for you. Got to stop
We-
stealing our content.
Literally. I am so mad, especially because we haven't actually done those spin-offs yet.
I
And
know, and now
so
people are going to think that we're copying
we
them when we
which is
came
not
first.
true. We literally came first, so the OGs know that we did it first. They saw us and they were like, "Oh, teehee, this is gonna be great. We'll do it too. We'll get so many views." Um, but yeah, no,
But if
literally,
you're a real best friendy, that's that's a sort of a placeholder name for friends of the podcast. A
yeah,
best friendy. If anyone has any other suggestions, please send them in because I don't think that's
please.
going to be a permanent one. Yeah, you'll know that we did it all first. I remember as well. I sent Fizz a voice note when I was watching it for the
Hmm,
second time. I think
hmm.
when they were reacting to Pin Off 4, and they made a reference that Dan looked like Carly Rae Jepsen. And I was like, we spoke about this in our podcast that Phil was Carly Rae Jepsen. So now they're just straight up stealing our things. What is wrong with
Yeah,
them?
they stole completely like that. That's like a proper rip off as well. Like that, the mention of Kali Ray Jepsen is so niche, and no one else would
And
have
yes,
done it.
and
Yeah.
yes, Pin Off 4 was posted years and years before we did our podcast episode, but my point still stands.
No, it completely stands. I think if we went to court with that, it would be good in our favor. Like it would be in our favor.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, get a
Absolutely.
lawyer, Danville, because we are coming for
We're
you.
coming for you. We're coming for every
We're
penny.
suing your ass. Yeah. You're gonna have to sell your house.
Not the Faust. Where would they live?
Not the house. Oh,
Anyway, shall we get into the video and some other relevant topics? We'll go back in time to 2012.
yes. So this video was posted on the 16th of June 2012, I believe. And
Yes.
from my research, because this time I'm the historian, I am going to tell you what's going on in this era. But basically, Phil was sort of struggling to um, upload this video because they've always just had shitty Wi-Fi for some reason.
Hmm.
Um, but he did manage to upload it, and essentially the entire video is a lowdown of everything he tweeted in the past week, basically, including the game. So
Wow.
it yeah. So he starts off the video talking about the fact that he's been absent on YouTube because they've been working on a radio show. They're in their RJ radio BBC era, very beginning stages of it. Um, and I think they were gonna do like another sort of show from Manchester, and I'm not sure exactly what it could have been about, but he did make a Tumblr post asking people for stories um about like
Interesting.
yeah, and the Tumblr
I
post
don't
is still
remember them doing like a summer show, unless it was another like Edinburgh Fringe thing, like they'd done the year before. Because obviously
it
we know that
sounds
they did a Christmas one in
yeah
2012.
this sounds like a proper like a show because he posted a Tumblr post asking people over 18 to send stories about a few things. So one of them was if he like funny stories about being fired. One was embarrassing sexting stories, which is quite risque, even I feel like for the radio. Um, and also interestingly, stories about meeting someone on the internet and now you're sort of happily dating or happily married, which again, like
Very
for the
interesting and suspicious.
very. So I wish we I mean, I'm gonna look for the actual recording of the radio show, and if I find it, we will link it on the podcast account because I'm very curious. I don't know about this radio show at all.
Yeah.
Um,
It must
but
have been
yeah,
another summer one that they did in Edinburgh,
hmm
maybe. Just
yeah,
theorising.
yeah, just a theory. Yeah, and so he talks about that in the video. He also talks about his new blender, which he also tweeted about.
Oh, that was my
He,
first note. Like, why do they
yeah,
own a blender? Why was this a purchase they made? The men
I
don't cook.
know.
Why are they buying blenders?
It's just things you do as an adult, I guess. Is that like their version of people buying like air fryers now? It's like
Oh,
when you buy an
maybe. I feel like NutriBullets and like food blenders and processors were a huge thing actually. Maybe not specifically
true.
this era, but I remember there being like such a huge thing because like I remember like seeing everybody use them and I was like, oh my god, I wish I had a blender.
Same. I mean, I've never wished I had a blender, but you know what? They make good use of it because they make this smoothie or milkshake that sounds so delicious. Oh my
Oh,
god.
amazing! Yeah, I love as well that was just something that they did. Like, oh, I'm bored. Let's make a milkshake and let's try and
Yeah.
make like the ultimate milkshake combination. Like that's such a cute little thing that they did.
I know, and to involve us in it is so sweet so that we could hear the softest little Dan giggle at the end when Phil. No, this is like Dan praise, kind of, because I find it very adorable regardless. Like, it was so cute.
Very
Where he
nice.
just went like, I don't have to tell you, like, you get it.
Yeah, I just thought it was really cute that they were just making milkshakes together in the kitchen.
Yeah, yeah.
I love when men have hobbies.
I love when men have hobbies. But this is one of the excuses he gave when he was like, "Sorry for being gone. I was playing with my blender."
I was playing
Uh,
with my blender. So the actual content of the video was a game that Phil had played on one of his live shows like the week before or something, and
mm,
people liked it, so we thought he'd put it in a video. And it was basically he got everyone to write down the numbers 1 to 10, and then gave you like a prompt for each number. And then when you read it all out, it made a lovely little sentence. And he asked everyone to play it at home. So I thought that me and Fizz could do this on the podcast as well. You can all hear our silly little stories. Would you like
yes,
to go first, Fizz?
sure. I'll go first. So the idea is that he said it's the story of your life, and like this is all
Yes,
real. That's the idea, right? All right.
that was the
So
story. What he did. Sorry, I'm rude.
no, no, no. You're fine.
I've sent it to
Okay.
you as well so that you can read it out and do mine.
Okay. Are you
I'll do
ready?
yours first.
Alright. I have my answers. So
Okay, Fizz, are you ready to hear the story of your life?
I am.
Okay. My name is,
Fizz.
and I am in love with.
Amazing fellow.
Oh, wow, so on brand. One, one day we poked each other's
Arms.
while eating.
Beach balls.
Oh, yummy.
Plastic.
I also have,
Four
yes,
eyes.
4 eyes.
I
And you
do
do
wear
wear glasses.
glasses. I do wear
Whoa.
glasses.
My mother is a,
Cat.
and my father is,
Taylor Swift.
nice.
Sure. Nice.
One day I will finally become a,
Teacher.
but then I will die in a
Jar.
accident. Womp
How
womp.
do I? What is the jar going to do to me? It's gonna
I don't know. Fall on your head or something. You'll be cooking in the
maybe.
kitchen with
Hmm.
your father, Taylor Swift, and a jar will
Like,
fall on your head. And you know, it'll be your mother. Your mother, the cat, will be on the shelf and will knock the jar off while you and your father, Taylor Swift, do some cooking.
there you go, there you go. You've got it. This is why. Oh my god.
There we go.
Okay,
Prophecy.
let's prophecy. But now I know how to avoid that kind of death because I will never let my mother, the cat, on a shelf or stand under a jar.
There you go.
There you go. Thank you, amazing Phil. The love of
Truly
my
king of
life,
content.
apparently. Yeah.
I wonder if he
Uh,
came up with this game actually, or if it's something he ripped off from somewhere else. I feel like
I
he came up with this.
He must have. I think like he loves an ad lib game.
Oh, he
Phil.
does. Phil
Yeah,
loves creating things, as we well know.
as we all know,
How
he's
many like
way.
YouTube tag videos has he made? How many actual like physical games has he made?
Mm, Capital
Like
Lester.
really truly making in the money. He should turn this into a board game. I'll
He
suggest
should
it.
or suggest it for sure. I think. Uh, no, I think he really enjoys games like this, and then so these are just things he comes up with.
As
Let's
as we
do.
know, I can't
Hmm,
remember what video it is that they talk about it, but Phil loves an icebreaker. I think Dan says that. I think they say it's like a joint video, and they're talking about going to like parties or like social gatherings. And Dan is like,
mm-mm.
Phil loves an icebreaker. He loves an icebreaker game, and I think that's one of the reasons how they came up with truth bombs
Truth
because Phil
bombs.
loves
Yeah, same.
icebreakers.
Yeah, I think it might have been like a truth bombs related anecdote
Yeah,
in a
he's
live
a
or in a
party
video.
animal, is Phil. He loves to socialize.
Yes, weirdly, like he loves a board game. Like he's so millennial in that way. I feel like
Yeah.
he like he just loves the board game. Anyway, let's look at what your life is going to be like. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. So let's begin. My name is,
Charlotte.
and I'm in love with.
Dan Howell.
We're so predictable. Um, One day we poked each other's.
Arms.
Oh, okay, same. While eating.
Same. Books.
Great. Paper cuts. I also have
11 toes.
Jesus. That's not that
That's not that
abnormal.
bad.
Yeah,
People have 11 toes. That could
they
be
do.
normal for someone.
It's true. My mother is a.
Cat.
My father is.
Taron Egerton.
Whoa. Your
Yes, he
father.
is.
Yes, he is. Yeah. Yeah. Proven fact. One day I'll finally become a.
Lifeguard, which is really sad because that's already my job. It was
That's
just the
already
first
your
thing that
job.
came to my head.
But then I will die in a
Glass.
accident. Whoa, I feel like we had like very similar
Very similar ones.
lives.
Maybe that shows that we're like really on the same wavelength.
I think so. Truly best friends with a PH.
Truly, truly the best friends of the Best Friend podcast.
Yep, yep. But yeah, so that was the game. Hope you guys also played along.
Yeah. And that was
You
basically the video, to be honest. There wasn't really a lot else that happened. Dan made some very inappropriate comments about touching Justin Bieber's testicles, I think.
Yes, but then he did question if it was okay for him to do that, which I think is growth in
Yeah.
some form or another. Not that much, but he did say that he would finally achieve his dream of being a lap dancer, and
He
I, for
did.
one, am waiting for it. Like, Sister Daniel, next step, lap dancer.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Do you
Hmm.
remember where they did the Dan and Phil Cards Against Humanity, and Phil was talking about how lap dancing would be like the only dancing he could do because he'd be sitting down in a chair.
Yes, I do actually. I do remember that.
And they also said that he'd be really good at lap dancing because his hips don't lie.
Jesus Christ. I,
Which I
yeah,
agree, actually. I think Phil does have, what's the word, like
birthing hips.
birthing hips, and also like they're very wide.
What?
They're
That's
like,
what
you know what I'm trying to say.
I do know what you're trying to
Perfect,
say.
perfect for
He's
lap dancing.
perfect for lap dancing. It's true. Um, yeah, no, I think they both could lap dance.
I think
As
Dan would get into it more, but I think Phil would be better at it.
if he could take it seriously, then yeah,
If
yeah, I
Phil could
think
take it seriously, but I don't think Phil could take it seriously.
no, I don't either. God, but I think we should just put music on and see what happens with them.
Yeah, maybe that could be like the final gaming with videos, like a Dan versus Phil who can lap dance better.
Whoa, they should invite their friends to provide the laps, obviously.
Can you imagine like PJ sat in like their office and Dan's like, right, are you okay, PJ? We're just gonna give you a little lap dance. The thing is, we laugh and we joke, but I mean, these gaming with videos have just been increasing in like
And
chaoticness. So it wouldn't
yeah,
surprise me. Like some of the things they said in that trombone video yesterday, like if you told me a month ago, oh, Dan is going to say this, I'd be like, nah, no way. He's
no,
never going
no
to say
way.
that in a gaming
I don't
video.
think he could get that unhinged. But apparently he
So
can.
here we
That's
are. So
yeah.
lap dancing isn't off the table as a Dan versus Phil.
Hmm. So Dan Phil, we now that we know you do listen to us, please do that. I think it'd be fun. Call
It
PJ.
would be fun.
Yeah, it'd be a
Or they could
party.
do like one of those like YouTuber challenges. Like I don't know who does a series like that where they like go and do like a like Anthony Padilla does the spending a day with
Oh right,
da,
right,
da, da.
right.
But you could
Yeah,
like
yeah.
spend a day with a lap dancer and like learn how to lap dance.
My God, that could be like another like long form thing that they do. It's just like
Yeah,
the hometown thing, and then lap dancers.
yeah.
Yeah,
Just a suggestion, Dan and Phil, if you're listening.
yeah. Because we know they are. And this time we're giving you an idea for free because it's not something that we can do.
No,
So,
no one would pay to see us lap dance. We would
I
pay
don't
to see
think.
you lap dance.
Yes, for sure. Think of the money, Phil. Right? All right. Let's. Ooh, okay. So, I mean, that is like Charlotte said, that is the video. But there was a bunch of stuff happening around this time. Like we said, it's
There
their
was.
last. Yeah. It's their last joint video, joint in like massive air quotes, in in this flat. But I mean, they continue to stay here. I think for another 2 months.
I think
But
just a month. I think they moved in July, so I had a look
oh,
through Phil's
really?
tweets. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I know. So I looked through the tweets as well, and so they were looking for apartments in. They started like end of May, and then on the day that he uploaded this video, he talked about looking at another apartment that is on Sherlock Street, and he was like, "Oh, we have to like get a place there because it's called Sherlock Street." Back when obviously Super Lock was huge and Sherlock was big. Uh, but yeah, so they continued looking, and then I went a little ahead to find out when they actually booked the iconic London apartment, and apparently it was on 12th July where they put an offer on the apartment.
Wow.
Yeah. And then a
Big,
few
big
days
adult
later,
decision.
yeah, and then I think a couple of weeks later, they put high speed internet, which then turned out to not be that high speed if you think about it, because he constantly complained about how slow the internet was.
I feel like they've always complained about how slow their internet is as well. And I'm like,
Yeah, it's
what's all
crazy.
this money getting you?
I know. Um, but yeah, he'd had like a wild week because he got the blender. He made the amazing like smoothie. Facebook exposed his ass for looking at penguin necrophilia articles, which he also tweeted about, by the way. Like that's what I'm saying. Like everything in the video mentioned, he had tweeted about. So it's like if you don't follow him on Twitter, you'll find out eventually what he's been up to. And yeah, also I don't know what date this was, but he tweeted. Oh, it was the 11th. It was on Dan's birthday's on the 11th, right?
It is. Wow. Wow, Fizz. Exposing yourself.
I know it's a week after mine. I just couldn't remember if it was exactly a week or not. Okay, so on Dan's birthday, he reached 80,000 followers on Twitter, which is
Wow.
insane.
Well done.
I know, which is insane because now he has, at this point in time, he has 6.7 million.
That's mad.
So, yeah, he's come far.
Speaking of followers, I went and had a look at how many subscribers they had at this time because I suppose this pre-London was like
Hmm.
literally probably just the beginnings of them sort of shooting
Blowing up.
into stardom in
Hmm.
2012 and sort of 2013. Um, so Phil had around 244,000 subscribers at this time, which is mad.
Crazy.
Um, and then Dan had 246,000 subscribers, so he'd surpassed Phil by 2,000.
Oh,
But
wow.
this was the month when Dan had like shot past him, and I think because Dan made sort of a lot of classic Dan videos in this like past 6 months of this year, like what not
Hmm.
to do in town, what not to do at the cinema, all those kind of ones.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So those, I think
So
they get a lot of numbers and like this like his relatable content. I guess just pull
yeah,
a lot more people in. Yeah, that's so fun. Good for Dan. I mean,
good for Dan.
They're moving out of this apartment, so he doesn't get like a bigger room or anything out of it. But good for him.
Good for him. And then I was doing some other research as well, so we're entering into exciting times now as well. The
Mhm.
next Phil video on his channel after this was Awkward Spa Experience, which is my very first Amazing Phil video.
Whoa, we've like reached the point.
We've reached the point. So this was when I'd gone onto Phil's channel. This was like the latest video that he'd uploaded, and I'm going to be brutally honest here, Fizz, and you can shout at me and scream at me. But I remember
Why?
watching this, and I was like, yeah, he's a bit too weird for me. I don't think I'm going to watch any more of his videos.
I won't shout at you. I'm just gonna say, ha ha, look at you now. Because, because you say that, but now I mean, we're on, we're on call recording a podcast about him and his friend. Oh, my. You know what?
What I think,
That's a very weird first video, to be fair. Like, I don't think that's a classic. I mean, okay, it is a little bit of
no, but
classic film, but
I was like very new to YouTube at this point as well. So like I didn't know what I was doing really and like how I was navigating YouTube. So I just went onto Phil's channel because I've been watching some of Dan. So I must have watched, I don't know what my first joint video was, but I must have watched a joint video and heard
Hmm.
Dan talking about Phil and then gone to find Phil. But I remember watching
Oh.
it. Oh, you've just got like some feedback.
Oh
Like
shit,
it's a
sorry.
bit fuzzy.
Is it better? I might just mute while you talk. Hold on.
Yeah, just me. Okay, I'll start that again. Yeah, so I was like pretty new to the whole like YouTube thing because obviously I just went onto Phil's channel and saw this, and it was just, I think this is just how Phil is now. Like he's the same person in that video, like making his videos as he is now. But I think now I just find it very endearing, like his weirdness. But I think if you're coming in cold to an Amazing Phil video and you're seeing this like
Yeah,
weird guy being weird, it's a bit like, oh, okay, that's a bit weird.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
cringe for
It
me.
can, yeah, it can come off a bit off-putting, I guess. I think you need to see them as, and I think this is why like the joint content works so well and like their joint branding works so well because they bounce off of each other so well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because Phil can be weird, but Dan has two reactions to it, right? He either mirrors the audience's reaction where he's like, "That's a bit weird," and nobody enjoyed that. But he also has moments where he just like completely gives in and joins in on the weirdness, and then it's not that weird anymore for some reason. I can't explain it,
No,
but
yeah, no, I completely agree with what you said. Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, so I'm officially, I mean, not when the game was uploaded, but you know,
Mm.
like we're into my Dan and Phil era. And I
Yeah.
mean, I don't think my weirdness for Phil lasted very long. I think I must have watched a bunch of his other videos or videos with Dan. And I was like, okay, I'm sold. I guess I'll subscribe to Phil too.
That's so fair. Mine isn't until like fall, but I'm excited that one of us has entered the Fanny era, or just like
Yeah,
casual viewer era, I'm guessing.
yeah. So I think definitely for the next episode, I will start trying to find some of my old tweets from this time to see sort of what my first reactions and thoughts were about Dan and Phil, and I can share those on
Mm-mm.
the podcast because I think that's always really exciting.
That's I know. Like I think next season on where we can actually like get into like what were you doing at this time,
Yeah,
and did you like, and then they'll be like live tweeting about the videos and stuff, which is so exciting.
so exciting. Yeah, so
But
I actually did watch a little bit of Phil's Awkward Spa Experience video before
mhm,
we recorded, and he talks about obviously they went to Vegas for Dan's 21st birthday, and he
yes.
says in the video they went for VidCon and then they went to Vegas. And he says in the video, he was like, "Oh, and Dan has filmed a super cool like Vegas video vlog of everything that we did, and hopefully you'll see that soon." And I was like, "Will we, Phil? Will we really see that
Mm,
video soon?"
mm.
Lost to the trenches.
Famously, we do not see the video at all ever. Um, that's such a
And
you just had
I
to
love
be there.
honestly,
Yeah,
and I love that there's this huge like conspiracy around it. Like, oh my god, like what happened? Like, did they get up to some crazy things that they just couldn't post it? And then I think they just revealed they just like lost the SD card or something.
mm.
Which
They
again,
did.
maybe that was a cover up and they just said that to get us off their backs. But who knows?
Who knows? Literally, no, we will never know what it like. We have no idea, literally. Um, but oh my god, Vegas video, you said that, and like it unlocked such a vivid like because it's such a thing. Like you just had to be there at the peak of what happened in Vegas. Um, because
And
people
it's
were
funny that
constantly.
it carried on for so long. So like I wasn't even really around in the fandom at this time when like the Vegas video had been brought up. Um,
Same.
but it went on for so long, like years and years and years. And you just sort of obviously through being in the fandom and like talking to people just picked bits up and I was like, oh, this is a thing then, the Vegas video.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, if you have Tabanoff or if you've read Tabanoff, you know that they dedicated like an entire thing to coming up with this elaborate story of what happened in Vegas. So it's something that like reached them, like people who directly asked them on lives and stuff, like, hey. what happened? What did you do? We know you have the video or just shit like that in the live show chat, and they'd play along.
The thing is, as well, so in the Phil Awkward Spa Experience video, he shows some clips of them in Vegas. So whether they're clips from what would have been the Vegas video, or if they're just things that Phil had filmed himself, I don't know. I've only just realised that.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
maybe
yeah. I just
maybe they didn't lose the SD card. Maybe they lied to us, Fizz.
Dan and Phil lying to their audience. I've never heard of
Oh
such a
no,
thing.
I don't like the word lie. That feels a bit harsh and a bit like sneaky. I think maybe like what's that like phrase of sort of omitting the truth. That's the one.
Hmm.
That sounds a
Hmm.
bit nicer. They
Yeah.
aren't obligated
I
to tell
think.
us anything, so
Yeah. Yeah. I think realistically, Dan probably didn't like the footage. Um,
probably.
and he's like, I'm not fucking editing this. And so we're not gonna see it ever, which is fair enough. It's his footage.
So yeah, I suppose that's it. That's the end. We've
That's the
come to the
end.
end of series 1 of the Best Friends Club podcast.
Oh, oh my god, we did it.
We
And
did it.
we're not really going anywhere. We're gonna take uh Christmas and New Year's off, and we're
Yes,
gonna get back to
hopefully come
you.
back
Yeah.
mid-January. We're gonna
Yes.
try really hard. It's very hard to squeeze this in, but we do it because we love it.
Yes. And it's a nice little sort of escape from our daily routines and just sort of
Yeah.
it's just very nice. Who knows how many videos we'll have to catch up with by the time we come back. But
Who knows what's going to have happened by the time we come back? Anything could have happened.
anything, knowing Dan Phil, the most unhinged again. Like we'll have to like push back so many videos just to talk about what they're doing right now.
I mean, I'm hoping it's going to be quiet because, as we know, they sort of have their like pajama week, right at the after Christmas, where they
True,
don't
true, true,
do anything at all, and they just
true.
go radio silent. So hopefully, everything will be nice and peaceful for us when we come back in January.
And when we come back, we'll be in London, guys. We'll be
Well, not us physically, but Dan
not
and
us
Phil will
physically.
be in London.
No, no, no. I'm manifesting us. I mean, well, I say manifesting, but 2024, we are looking forward to possibly a Best Friends Club podcast episode in person.
Possibly in person. How exciting is that?
How
It's been years in
we
the making.
It's been almost a decade in the making, honestly, because we've been friends since 20.
That's absolutely disgusting. I can't believe you just said that.
I'm so
Right, I can't believe you just
sorry.
phrased it. It's nearly a decade. Oh my god. What?
Because we've been friends since 2015, and
Yeah,
it's
but
gonna be
that was only like last year. So I don't know what
That's
you're
true.
talking about.
That's true. I'm sorry, my mistake. Uh, so you can look forward to us being together for like an episode. Who knows which one, but
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
fingers crossed. Let's all manifest. Um, but yeah, oh my god, last episode. We're done,
We're
guys.
done. Thank you everybody for listening this year. We have been just in awe that so many people have listened and like followed and sort of interacted with us on Tumblr and Twitter. So thank you so much. Even if you've listened to just one episode, thank you for supporting us. And we're gonna keep making it because it's fun.
It's so much fun, and yeah, same. I'm echoing everything that Charlotte has said. Thank you for listening. Thank you for actually interacting with us and giving us your thoughts and joining in our conversations, our like silly little questions that we ask, and providing us with resources that sometimes we can't get, which is so
Yes.
nice. Also, we reached, in case you missed it, we did reach 1,000 plays overall, which
Which is
is
insane. I'm kind of a little bit obsessed with like checking the stats of the podcast. Like even if we just go up by one, I'm like, oh my god, like we have one more play than we did yesterday. I just find it so
mm,
exciting. It's like an actual
it.
person who is listened to.
Yeah, yeah. That's what's so crazy, right? Because it's not just numbers; it's actual people listening to us, and I'm so happy that we can be like this cute little, I guess, like friend club. Like
Friends Club.
it's so great. But yeah,
But
thank
yeah,
you.
hope
Yeah.
everybody has a lovely festive season, and we will see you all in January.
Next year in 2024. See you then.
Bye.
Bye.